3 cards selected. You're going to have your 3 cards selected. In this case, we'll assume that's the Ace of Clubs, 2 of Clubs, and 3 of Clubs. These cards get pushed into the deck and you are ready to go. I'm going to try something. I'm going to make this deck of cards sleight of hand proof. That's right. How would you do that? Well, this is how. You take a handkerchief and I'm going to place it over my hand. Because I'm going to place the cards into my hand, but I want to make sure that my bare hand does not even touch the deck. So we'll use this handkerchief, and I'll hold the cards with the handkerchief. Can't get any fairer than this. Look at this, right at the fingertips. In fact, if you concentrate on the card you chose, I believe it was the 8 of Clubs. Watch this. Look at that. One card rises out of the pack. I want you to see this card is actually rising straight out of the middle of the deck. Come on out. Look at that. I'm going to grab that card right there. And in fact, we're going to cover the pack because some people think maybe there's some strings or something pulling the card up. So with the deck covered like this, and again, just holding it at my fingertips, you'll actually feel the card rising out. You'll see it. Watch. Look at that. Straight out of the middle of the deck. One more time. The spectator can grab these cards. And let's get in real close for this last card. One more time. The last card, the 3 of Clubs. Watch it rise. Straight out of the pack. You can view this from all angles. From the side, from the back. The card continues to rise out of the pack. It's an all-around card rise, all angles. There are no gimmicks. The spectator himself removes the cards. The spectator can remove the pack from your hand, remove the handkerchief. There's nothing to carry. It's completely impromptu, an angle-proof rising card from the middle of the pack. No gimmicks. Borrowed deck. Okay, here's the idea. For this trick, you're going to require a couple of sleights, but you've got an angle-proof rising card done with a borrowed pack. It doesn't get much stronger than that. Here's what you're going to need to do. First, let's talk about the actual technique. This is based on Richard Kaufman and Ken Krenzel's On the Up and Up. It was a booklet published in the 1980s, I believe 1987 to be exact, although it could be 1923. One of the two, not sure. But you should check out that booklet. Some really clever handlings for a rising card. The application I brought to it was using their technique with a handkerchief, which makes it a completely angle-proof rising card. With the Kaufman and Krenzel technique, you had to shake the deck to cover the move. Here you can keep it completely still, which I believe adds to the credibility of the rise. Here's the basic technique. A card gets pushed into the pack. This can be done with one card or multiple cards. Let's zoom in on this to see the exact handling. Okay, here's how you control the cards. You can do this with a single selection or multiple. We'll use multiple in this case just to show you the technique. You're going to put each of the cards in the pack. Assume 3 cards are chosen. Take each one, riffle down a couple of cards, put the first one. Riffle down about 10 or 15 cards as you put the second one because you want some space in between these 2 cards. Again, about 10 or 15 cards, put the third one. So you end up with some space in between the cards. Here's the technique from your perspective. You're going to push the cards in. As you do, here's what's going to happen. You're going to push them in an angle this way. Look, so here, your finger pushes a little more, so the cards are going to end up sticking out the back like this. Your hand is on top, there. And then these fingers over here are going to kick, these fingers here will kick these cards this way. So it looks like this. Okay? Now you end up with the cards out the back. We'll do that one more time with one card. So here's the technique. Push here. Push. One more time. Push. Push. You can't miss this. Push. Push. With multiple selections. 1, couple of above 15 cards in between, like so. Same idea, push, push. Now they are down jogged or in jogged at the back. You immediately then take your right hand, put it on top in this position. Fingers on this side, finger over here, thumb here. You're basically covering your angles, and you can give the pack a riffle. You could even riffle with your right thumb on this edge. So of course, from the audience, that's happening here. The whole perspective of this from the audience's point of view would be this. You push the cards in the pack. That's it. It's that fast. Okay? Cards are angled at the back. They're in-jogged at the back. Here's the final move before you grab your handkerchief from your perspective. You're going to take the cards now. Your thumb is going to come in contact with these cards. You're going to hold your thumb at about that point on the cards. And you're going to push, but at an angle this way. When you do that, you're going to end up pushing the cards out the side of the pack like this. So if we could zoom in on that, you'll see that the cards are pushed out like that. That's your position. The three cards angled on the right side of the pack. You'll notice there's a little bit of card sticking out here. You've got a little bit of card sticking out here. But that's basically your position. Keep it close up like that. I'm going to do it again. Don't worry, I know this is out of view for a moment. It'll be back in view in a moment. So here we go. From here to here. Then the right thumb pushes here at an angle, and the cards are there. You can actually now, with your right thumb, actually riffle the pack on this little area right here because the cards will not move, because that's the flush area of the pack. Your second finger is holding the pack here where it's flush again. Don't push against the cards. Hold in both these spots, and with your thumb you can riffle. At any rate, here you go. You're in the position. You're now facing the audience. One other thing you're going to do before we face the audience, one other last thing you're going to do is, while you're in this position, your right palm is going to hit the bottom of the pack here. Sorry, your left palm will hit the bottom of the pack, and it'll push 5 or 6 cards, or a bunch of cards, bevel them to the left here like that. See what you're doing? From below, here's what's happening. Okay, there's your side jog cards, but you push a couple of cards to the side like that. Okay, let's zoom out now. I'm going to show you that again. So the cards get pushed in the pack. You do your control to the back, then you push out to the side, then you push with your palm. It'll contact a couple of cards here, and you push out to the side. So you kind of swivel a couple of cards to the side here. Let's get a close-up here. You've got about actually 10 or 15 cards beveled this way in the pack. But it's actually the first couple of cards that hide it. At any rate, you've now got a couple of cards pushed this way, which hide these little babies in the back. You're now going to hold the pack here between your index finger and your thumb. Hold it at a place where the cards are not sticking out. Do not hold it here. Hold it right here. And on the right-hand side, hold it right there. Okay? Now all that's going to happen, here's the move. You just take your pinky. Let's see if we can get a good angle on this. Take your pinky and push up on the card. Okay? That's all that's happening. Let's take it from this angle. Watch the pinky. It comes in contact with one of the out-jog cards and pushes it up like that. Come in contact with the out-jog card, push it up like that. That is the basic move. I'll do it with one card so you can really see this. Do your little bevel, hold the cards, there's your out-jog card right there. Pushes up, 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 up. And it'll actually push through these cards. That is the basic move. So there you have it. That's how you do the trick. Push up, whoosh, and the card rises. Try it at home. You'll see how easy it is to do, actually. Once you get the knack of the control and the side jog part and pushing a couple of cards and holding it properly, you'll see how easy it is to push it up with your pinky. Okay, so now that you've got the technique down, you have the 3 cards selected, controlled, into the pack, side jogged, cards angled in front to hide the side jog. You then grab a handkerchief. You're going to throw it over the pack, over your hand, like so. I have a spectator do this, and I have them pat the handkerchief, make sure there's nothing. It's just a handkerchief. And now I'm going to grab the cards in the same position I did before, but through the handkerchief. In other words, my index finger goes here, my thumb goes on the other side. So the exposed view, you can see I'm holding it the same way I would have held it like I showed you before, but now through the handkerchief. Okay, now, same idea as before. On this side of the pack are all your side jog cards. But as you can see, it's hidden by the handkerchief. In fact, all your angles, could we zoom out for this a bit, please? All the angles are covered by the handkerchief because all the rising is going to happen here. Here's what you actually do. Just with your pinky, same idea as you did before, you just put your pinky there and you'll actually feel where the tip of that card is. It's right here. And now I just push up on it through the handkerchief. And you'll notice it pushes the card up in the pack. And you can pull it out. The cool part, of course, is when the handkerchief is draped over your hand. When I push up on the second card now, let's zoom out, you can't see any movement here as the card's rising because it's hidden over here. That's what makes it angle proof. When you turn around, you can't see any movement here either. There is no movement other than the card rising. And it does come straight out of the middle. The last card, same idea. Let's get it really, let's get close up for this. You'll see it really does rise straight out of the middle. There is no movement other than the card rising. And again, it's really eerie when you show it from all angles and they see it continue to rise straight out of the pack. You hand it to them. They can then grab the cards and the handkerchief, and you're clean as a whistle. And that's it. A little something with, that's better. We're going to have a card selected. I'm going to have my friend Mario just say stop anytime he wants. Just say stop. Say stop.
Stop.
Remember that card? Okay, free choice. I'm going to have that card signed. We're going to reach down there. I'm kidding. It is a free choice, of course. I'm going to write my name on there. My name is Richard. This card, you have a card signed and controlled lost in the pack, let's say. Okay? Somewhere down in the pack. I'm actually not going to find your card because I don't know how. So what I'm going to use is actually, I work on a bit of a budget, but I do have an assistant. And I'm going to show you who my assistant is. Here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stickman. I'd have a spectator draw something on the stickman that will help him find the card. So they usually draw something like that. And I say, that's great, a log. Or he's holding a newspaper. That'll help a lot. I then have the spectator wipe the stickman and make sure it's dry. It is. As they're rubbing, I say, oh, watch where you're rubbing, eh? Jeez, it's a family show. I then turn it over. I say, look, it's on the ace of spades. That's not your card, right? They say no. In fact, I say, look, the stickman acts like a little bit of a diving board. If I just go like this, boom, he jumps off the card and kind of lands right over here. Now, it's still dry, but now it's on the jack of spades. Let's try that again. Look, same idea. This time you'll see him fly over to that card. Look, he's still dry, but now he's on the five of clubs. Let me show you how this works. Look, with my empty hand, I'm just going to rub the stickman like this. And when I do, he comes off. I roll him into a little ball. I hand him to the spectator. The spectator then gently tosses Mr. Stickman back in the pack. Whoops, missed. Stickman now has a broken leg. Try that a little lighter, please, sir. Thank you. Boom. With any luck, Mr. Stickman ended up somewhere in the middle of the pack. And with any luck, there he is, still holding his log/newspaper that you drew on there. But this time, he's found the card. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the sticky. Right side up, sir. Okay, here's how you do the stickman trick. This is one of my favorites because all you need is a deck of cards and a marker. Have a card chosen. In this case, the 10 of diamonds. Have the card signed. We'll just sign it like that. And put the card in the pack and control it to the top via your favorite method. So the card is controlled to the top. Let's come down for a close-up on this. Okay, I'll show you one of my favorite false cuts. It's a really fancy cut. It looks like this. Whoops, let's try that one more time. Looks like, it looks like this. One more time, looks like this. I believe it's based on the Paul Harris butterfly cut. I believe it is the butterfly cut. That's the last I heard of it. You riffle down the side of the pack, grab about half the cards, pivot them like that into your right hand. You're going to hold both piles between your index finger and thumb, index finger and pinky, like the Charlier cut. Your right hand is going to is going to lift up on the upper half of each pile. The index fingers will push up just as the cards push over these piles. You're going to stick your index finger into each pile before they fall down like that. You're going to clipping it between your first finger and second finger. You're going to flip this pile forward. Then you're going to flip this pile on top like this. Then the right second finger, that's this one, will stretch out and go under both piles. So now you're grabbing both as one. You revolve over like that. So you're here, you revolve over to there, put this here, and revolve the whole thing up over on top. So one more time, that's revolve here, cut here, bring this up, fingers inside, this one, revolve, this, and on top. So it's a really neat cut that leaves the top card intact. I believe that is the Paul Harris butterfly cut. So now back to the trick. You explain to the audience that you have an assistant, but you work with a budget. So your assistant is not the typical one. In fact, this is it. And you draw a stickman on the top card. Okay? What I always do is I always have the spectator draw something in the stickman's hand that'll help them find the card. This leads to a lot of comedy, situation comedy, because they'll try drawing a magic wand and it'll look like a hammer or something strange or a carrot. And you could just make some joke about it. Oh, great, a butter knife, that'll really help. Whatever it is, you can have some fun with it. Put the marker away and you're ready to go. This is just kind of a series of double lifts and a couple of moves. You're going to double lift the two cards as one. By the way, this, of course, is really the sign card. Double lift, show the Queen of Diamonds, and we can come in a little closer for this. Okay, that's perfect. You're going to do the KM move at this point. So you're going to take the card, and you're going to, as you brush the card like this, the top card is actually pulled off onto the pack. Okay, let's do that again. So you double lift as you come over here to brush the card. Your hand pivots over, your left hand with the deck in it pivots over and grabs, these fingers grab the bottom card. So an exposed view would be this. It pulls it onto the deck as you brush this card away. Okay? So they believe that to be the card with the stickman on it. Okay, we're going to pull out now. Perfect. So now you say, look, it acts like a diving board. You give it a flick, turn it over, the stickman's gone. You pretend to reach over and catch it right over here. The stickman reappears. You have them rub it, make sure it's dry. Feel free to use any jokes. Do another double lift, showing it's on the 9 this time. Again, you do the same KM move, pull it away. And this time you're going to do a visual move. You say, this time I'll actually throw it onto the pack like this. And it gives the illusion that the card literally just jumps over to it. All that's really happening, of course, is you're doing both these actions at the same time. This action of just kind of flipping the card over here. I'm actually using my second finger to twirl it between my first, and the thumb comes back on top, so it looks like that. And at the same time, I'm doing this. So put them together and you get dunk. It really gives the illusion for some reason that the stickman jumped off here and popped on there. Throw that down rub it again, double lift, showing a different card. Here you're going to use the Erdnase color change to cause the stickman to vanish. If we could zoom in a little bit, here's how the Erdnase color change works. Your hand is going to come over the pack as if to rub it. When it comes over the pack, the pinky is going to hit this part of the card. What's going to happen with under cover of the fingers, it's going to push this card up slightly. This happens under the finger so you can't see it. The base of your hand right here, this part of your hand, is going to come in contact with this card right here and pull it out. It looks, let's get an exposed view. It looks like this, okay? You're pulling it out and it's riding on the pack. So once you hit there, it's actually riding and staying on the pack. What happens at the same time, this gets pushed in and this gets pushed out like that. So in actual speed, it would be this. But what you do is you add this to it. Whoops, that was an exposed view. But you pretend to pull it off of the pack. So you say, look, I'll just rub it. And you pretend to pull it off the pack. And you pretend to roll it into a little ball. And I hand it to a spectator. At that point, I tell the spectator to throw it into the pack. And I just dribble the cards like this. They throw it in the pack. I say, with any luck, we've got the card there. At this point, you can pass the deck. You can pass the card into the middle or just casually cut it into the middle and then do the dribble. Either way, get the card into the middle. When you spread through at this point, you'll come to one card with a stickman on it. You say, not only have you got the stickman in the middle, but he's actually found the card. When you turn it over and it's on the signed card, it's a really cool moment, and you give that to the spectator as a souvenir. A really old bill. This bill is in old, ratty condition. Look at this. We got a torn corner. We got a grocery list on the bill. We got a little mustache drawn on the Prime Minister. There's a corner missing from the bill. Someone's drawn their phone number on it. Look at the actual condition of the bill. It's really, really old. Just at the point about being thrown out, actually. But I've been studying some time travel. I'd like to try a little experiment. If we could zoom in right on the serial number, I want you to see that this is the same bill that you'll be seeing at the end. I want you to be sure of that. So memorize that serial number, A0B643718. Watch the bill. Don't let it leave your sight. It's in the folding and the unfolding that the time travel takes place. And you'll see that this bill is now no longer wrinkled. There is no grocery list, no rip, no tear, no torn corner, no mustache, no phone number. The actual paper is in perfect mint condition. And the serial number, A0B643718, the very same bill. For this trick, you're going to need two things. You're going to need to know the Roger Kozlowski bill switch, made popular by Michael Amar and Roger Klaus. I think that was Michael Kozlowski. I might have said Roger Kozlowski because I confused Roger and Mike, which happens a lot in the magic biz. Here we go. You're going to require two bills. Two bills in consecutive serial number order. If you go to the bank, whenever I go to the bank, I always ask, I always buy, if you got a $100 bill or a $20 bill, I ask them for ones. I especially ask, if I'm friendly with a teller, if they have any new bills in. Because if you ask people that, generally, they think you're a little nuts. But if you don't want to do that, just take a $100 bill. If you could afford it, go to the bank and ask for $100 worth of ones or fives or whatever denomination works for you in your currency. This is Canadian money, by the way. When they give you the bills back, 5 times out of 10, you'll get bills that are new. And what will happen in the new bills, there'll be consecutive serial number. So you'll have something like A0B6437182, and then blah, 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 183 and 184. So you'll have bills that are pretty much the same serial number except for that last number. Then what you're going to do is get yourself an X-Acto knife and you're going to very slowly, this takes about 20 minutes, lightly kind of chisel away at the last serial number. Don't really dig in there. You just want to kind of scrape the surface, so to speak, very, very lightly with a light touch, and you'll eventually get rid of the number on there, okay? Then take a pen eraser and erase to get rid of the excess number, and you end up with, you do that on both serial numbers, on 2 bills. So you'll end up with 2 bills which are have exactly the same serial number. Then, take one of the bills, put a tear in it, rip a corner off, put some graffiti over it, phone numbers, whatever you'd like, crumple that bill up, place it into a jeans pocket, put that in the wash a couple of times, and then the dryer, and you're going to end up with a really ratty looking bill, and that's what you want. Keep the other bill in mint condition. I'm going to put the ratty bill aside for a moment. Here's what you do with the new bill. You're going to take it and you're going to fold it exactly in this position. This is for the bill switch. You're going to fold it. Once this way, once this way, once this way, and once this way, upwards. I'll do that one more time, although you can replay it. This way, this way, this way, and this way. This then gets placed inside your thumb tip. You place your thumb in there with the bill wedged behind it. You're now going to perform the Mike Kozlowski bill switch. I'm going to use this bill. I'll explain the reasoning behind it, but let's just do the bill switch. You hold your bill here. The thumb tip is held behind the bill. You can show the other side of the bill by moving around like that. Okay? Always keeping the thumb tip held behind. So I push these fingers. They kind of touch these 2 fingers here as I push it around and show the other side once or twice. Come over here. I then push this end in. That's 1. It's the same as the other way you folded the bill. Push this down 2. Thumb tip always staying behind. As I push this piece forward, here's what's going to happen. This thumb is going to push here. It's going to extend over the bill. I'm going to grab it with my left thumb, as my right thumb will pull out of the thumb tip. My right thumb is going to pull out of the thumb tip as I'm grabbing here. When it does, that bill riding against the base of my thumb will pull out behind it. That's going to pull out behind the bill. I'm then going to re-grip. I'm holding the thumb tip kind of in finger palm or with your thumb, but just re-grip here with your fingers and thumb. You're then going to now, in one movement, push this up and around. So you're actually folding this whole packet up and around like this. Okay? What ends up happening is this bill flips around in front now, like that. So now this bill is in front. You're now going to unfold this crease of this bill open like that. You're now going to unfold this crease open like this. As your fingers reach forward to grab this piece to unfold it, you're actually going to end up pulling this back, placing this thumb tip here. It all kind of rides into a natural position because your thumb grabs it here, pulls that into position as you open here. That's get pushed in. You then unfold here and turn around again. And that's the basic bill switch technique. The way you get into this particular trick, the way I get into this trick, is I have the new bill inside my thumb tip, ready to do the bill switch. This is on my pocket or on me. The way I get into this trick is I have this bill inside my wallet with my other money. I pull out my wallet, say, let me show you something with some money. Here, we'll use 5. I throw the 5 down. Only then do I comment and say, wow, actually, I didn't realize this is a pretty old 5. I don't know if we can do it with this. Well, actually, you know what? I've been studying time travel. It's kind of weird. Well, take a look at this. And then I start, so it's kind of the spur of the moment. I only discovered that it's an old bill after the fact, and then I'm complaining that I may not be able to do the trick with it. And then I start going, look how old it looks. It's got a corner missing. It's ratty, phone number, da, da, da. Well, I'll tell you what. I've been studying time travel. Let me see if I can do something with it. At that point, you've got a lot of misdirection to put your hand in your pocket, casually put the thumb tip on your thumb, and then have them note the serial number. They can write it down or memorize it. And then you go into the bill switch technique, and you end up switching the bill right in front of them and restoring it into a mint condition. When you hand that out to be examined, they are really mystified because they know about switches. They know magicians have fast hands. But because you've told them the serial number and they've noted it and it's the same now, there's no way you could have switched it. Something very strange happened. Really cool effect. You know, people sometimes wonder, how do magicians practice? Well, this is exactly how we practice. We practice with a deck of cards. This is how we practice our card tricks. What we do is we randomly cut the deck, and whatever card we cut to, in this case, a king, what we'd have to do is try and cut to the other kings from the pack. So let me show you how to do that. Just by feel, I'm not even looking at the deck. That should be a second king, yeah. Look, I'll do that again. Just cut the pack like so. And that should, wait, one more cut, I think. That should bring a third king. Yeah, there it is. Last one, this is the most difficult. I cut the pack twice. Then I bring 26 over, carry the 2, bring that around, divide by 7, and that should bring me, if I'm really lucky, that final king. That's 4 kings from a shuffled deck of cards. Not too bad. But I tell you what, I want to show you guys an amazing trick, not just how magicians practice. So I tell you what, whatever these cards are, I'm going to try and put them in the deck and find them again, but with a time limit. Here's my time limit. Whatever this, okay, 4. This means I have 4 seconds to put all the kings in the deck and find them again. Normally at this point, I'd have a spectator put their finger on this 4 as my timekeeper, and I'd have them count off 4 seconds. We're going to have one of our spectators in the background, Dasha, count off 4 seconds. Ready, Dasha? Go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Did it. Whew! Just in the nick of time. I managed to find all 4 kings. Look, the first one turned over in the pack. The second one turned over in my pocket. The third one turned over in the box. And the last one turned over right under the spectator's very own finger. That's 4 kings. There are no other kings in the pack. You can do this with a shuffled, borrowed deck of cards. How you do the trick. If you come down to the cards, we'll explain it all in the cardy area thingy here. It actually uses, you can borrow a deck of cards and do this trick. It only uses 4 kings and a pack of cards. There's no palming involved, and the cards appear in the most amazing places. So it makes it a really practical trick. What you're going to need are the 4 kings. You're going to take the king of diamonds, and you're going to place it inside the card box, face up, and close the box, put it on the table. Take the king of clubs, put it in your pocket, face up, like so. Oh! You're then going to take the other 2 kings, the king of spades and hearts. And what you're going to do is you're going to put the king of spades on top of the deck, throw any indifferent card on top of that one, then throw the king of hearts, any indifferent card on top of that one. So your 4-card stock from the top is indifferent, king of hearts, indifferent, king of spades, rest of the deck. Here's what you do. You explain that the job of a magician is to find a 4 of a kind. So you give the deck a series of any false cuts you like. You do a double lift showing a king. I show a king here quickly. I don't call it king of hearts. I call it a king, because I'm going to be showing these kings, the king of hearts and the king of spades, twice. I don't want the audience to remember that fact, so I just call it a king. Do the double lift, throw it down. This is actually an indifferent card that goes down. The king is here. You double undercut this king, this top card, to the bottom. Okay? Now you do another double lift. That'll bring the king of spades into view. You go, that's king number 2. Again, you want to show a quick flash. You don't want to leave it there and make them remember spade. You want them just to show a quick flash of the king, That's king number 2. I'll even put my thumb over the spade here sometimes, but you really don't need to, as long as you keep it moving rather briskly. So show the second king, double lift, put it down, really indifferent card. Now, you're going to double undercut 2 cards from the bottom to the top. To do that, I run 2 cards off with my thumb, get a break, and then double cut by swing cutting, and then double cut to the break to bring it to the top. So now, I do a double lift, showing a 3rd king. Now, the way this sequence is worked, it's so that you show a red, black, red, black. You don't want to show the same card twice in a row. You alternate. You another double in one. You want to keep this moving quickly. Don't stay here. So there's a 3rd king. Turn it over. Put it down again in a different card going down. Last one, you're going to take the bottom card and cut it to the top. So just get a break, cut that bottom card, double cut it to the top. And now you're going to perform a triple lift, showing the last king. You take that triple card, turn it face down, throw it on the table, really an indifferent card. Your 2 kings are now on the top of the pack, but immediately after you put this card down, you get a break under the top card. You put your thumb there, you hold the break, and you lift about half the cards up. You're going to do what's called a brow reversal. So you're going to lift that top pile up. You're going to flip these babies over onto this packet here. And you're going to push it flush. So it's actually being pushed. So you pull off here. This is an exposed view. Push it over here, still maintaining your break. Push it square. Break is maintained. And drop all the cards below the break. And now turn these over. But the one card you held at the break is still face down. And you throw this, keep this on the bottom. So essentially you've reversed the card that was on the top is actually now reversed in the middle, which was the king. And you haven't disturbed the order of the cards, so the other king that was on the top is still on the top. So I'll show you that in actual speed. You get your break, 1, 2, back. And your king is reversed secretly, and your last king is on top. So you're now ready to finish the trick, you say, and the wording is very important at this point, because as you throw your last king down, you say that's 4 cards, brow reversal, from a shuffled deck of cards. And that's your reason for turning the cards face up. And I spread about half the cards like this, showing a deck of cards, timing it to the words from a shuffled deck of cards. I don't spread all the way because I don't want to come to this one. So you just spread a few, just saying from a shuffled deck of cards. Turn it face down. Say, I want to show you guys something extra special though. At that point, get a break below the second card. Say, I'm going to attempt to take all those kings, shuffle them back into the deck, but with a time limit. You now double lift. Whatever card is under here, you can plant the card, you can put that card under your setup, and that will be the card that shows, which in this case is the 4 of diamonds, or you just randomly cut to it, which I did here, which is a 4 of diamonds. But if you wanted to put, let's say, a 3, just put the 3 under the lowermost king in your stack, and it will be here at the end. So you show this card, say that means I have 4 seconds to find your cards. Turn the double over, put it down on the table. This time it's a king going down. Have the spectator put their finger on it. Say I have 4 seconds to put all the kings in the deck. You have everybody count, and you're sloppy, and you're telling them to slow down or whatever you can do, and you're just placing all these kings in. Push them in time to around the point where they reach the last number, and you go, whew, did it. No, really, they don't believe it's possible you could have done it, but you snap your fingers, you flick the deck, and now you spread through. So look, 1 king turned over in the pack. Climax number 1. The second king turned face up, and you reach into your pocket with 2 fingers inside my pocket. Boom. The third king turned face up, shake the box. Inside the box. And the last king turned face up, right under your finger. It makes a really strong climactic finish. People are left with the impression that the cards just jumped everywhere. No palming, really simple sleights, very real high impact. And that's king thing. With some cards. Check it out. Let's do it. I'm going to shuffle up the cards. Actually, the whole idea here is not really to shuffle. It's to find an ace. Woo, got lucky there. Hold on, let me cut them again. I think the second ace is about 17th. Yeah, okay. Third eighth is a little more difficult. I believe it's near the yeah. And the other one is near the thing with the thing there. And the yeah and the yeah, that's it. Thought so. Okay, here's how you do the trick. You're going to need 4 aces on the bottom of the deck. Okay? You can false shuffle by Hindu shuffling out the middle stock of the pack. Just try and not hit the bottom stock. Okay? Just like that. You're going to do a variation of the halo cut. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to, the way I do it, I get a buckle. I use my left index finger to buckle the bottom card, then grab a break with my pinky. And I'm going to swing cut some cards into the left hand and about half the pack. And I'm going to pull that bottom card, which is buckled, onto the bottom of that swing cut packet. That's the halo cut, but I'm just using a buckle variation. That's by Harry Lorraine. This packet now, watch closely, I'm going to swing cut about half the cards, add them onto the right hand half here, and keep a break, like so, with my pinky. I'm now going to place these cards on top of this packet while stealing this packet away and still maintaining the break when this other packet goes on top. I'll show you what I mean. This is a variation on the FT cut by Frank Garcia. The right thumb works as a fulcrum, comes over here. The third finger grabs that packet above the break, pulls it to the side. This packet goes down. As this packet is pulled out, the break is maintained by the pinky. Okay? This packet then gets thrown on top. No break there, but you're still maintaining that original pinky break. I transfer it to my thumb. I then swing cut all the cards above the break into my left hand, and then throw these cards on top, at the same time throwing my left thumb into the packet in between the two, and my left thumb pulls that card, which will be an ace, into view. I'm going to repeat that same process. Buckle, get your break, swing cut, grab that card onto the bottom of the packet, swing cut a packet, hold a break, take this one, grab the packet above the break, put this down, maintain the break here, slap this on top, transfer the break to the right thumb, swing cut, throw it on top, and there's the ace. One more time in quicker speed. There it is. And the last time. There's the ace over here. Swing cut, boom, bang. There it is. All 4 aces. Okay, what you're about to see is actually just a principle. What I wanted to do is to be able to borrow a bill, have the bill signed, then vanish the bill and have the bill appear anywhere I wanted, whether it's in an ice cube tray, under someone's seat, in my car, someplace impossible. And I wanted to do this, but of course, there's no way to get 2 signatures. So I tried to create a scenario where what could you do that would create the impression that they signed it? Or not necessarily the impression that they signed it, it would give the impression that that bill was a one of a kind that vanished and appeared somewhere else. You could do that with a serial number, but I wanted something that was kind of impromptu. So here's what I came up with, and I've tested this about 20 times, and it's been getting some very good reactions. So it's kind of in its infancy stage still, but I thought I would pass it on to you because it's a cool concept and hopefully you can have some fun with it. What I do is I borrow a bill from somebody. I'll do some trick with it, possibly, or I'll just borrow a bill and say, you know what, I need a bill for a second because, well, let me show you something. And then you pull out your deck of cards, and you're going to have a card selected. In this case, Mario, say stop.
Stop.
Great. Remember the card, please. Okay?
Yep.
And I'll dribble the rest of the cards on top. And I don't even look. If I'm doing this for a layman, I'll do the best force that I can. A really deceptive force where I'm not even looking at the cards. They will choose the card, possibly a cut force or something where it's a handoff force. I put the cards away. I say, what I want you to do is kind of make a mental impression of your card. Think about it in your mind. I'm going to try and pick up your thoughts. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Actually, do you mind if I use your bill for this possibly? Let me really think of your card. I think I'm getting something here. Okay. Again, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm really taking a chance because you just took a card and you're only thinking of a card in your mind. For the first time, what was your card? 5 of diamonds? That's exactly what I wrote on this bill. If we could zoom in just a little. There we go. Perfect. Now, I realize at this point, not the most impressive effect for magicians. For laymen, it's a real knockout. It looks like you just read their mind. If we could zoom out just a bit here. What this allows you to do now is you can put the bill down for a moment and talk a little bit. But then what you could say is, look, I'll show you something even better. Here, watch the bill. And look, I'll fold it up. And you fold it up. And you vanish it. And you say, look, here's the wild part. Right here, inside my shoe, there's a bill sticking out. You pull the bill out. And you say, look, it's appeared right there in my shoe. Now, the psychology here, of course, is you're simply doing card force. But when you're apparently spur of the moment writing 5 of diamonds on their card, you apparently just read their mind that specific moment. It's an instant in time that happens spur of the moment. It's not premeditated. So when you write 5 of diamonds on their card and you get it right and you're excited about it and they're excited, it's a moment that, is not premeditated. So now, when you vanish this bill, this is almost as good as a signature because it just happened in that moment. So, and to laymen, they don't know that you could force a card and have another one with this written on it. To them, you just wrote the name of their card, that bill vanished, and the bill appeared in your shoe, and it's still got the name of the card on it. So it's got to be the same bill. Very interesting premise. Play around with this. I think you'll have some fun with it. Just so you do realize, I'm assuming most people do realize this, but you want to try and write 5 of diamonds on the 2 bills in relatively the same fashion. Of course, you're actually only going to write it on 1 bill, but write it in, try and kind of get down a certain writing that you use and where you'll put it. Put that bill in the place where you want it to appear. Then when you borrow a bill of the same denomination, try and write 5 of diamonds in fairly the same way that you wrote the other one. Try and get it exactly the same and in the same place on the bill. So that when this one vanishes and the other one appears, they look identical. Guys, something really wild. Look, I'm going to use just, not a full pack, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards. And the aces. And I'm going to do this slowly so there's no doubt. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 aces. They go down on the table, like so. I'm going to cover up each of those aces, again, very slowly. 1, 2, 3 cards. 3 cards on every ace. Can't be any fairer than that. Sir, Mr. Cameraman, can you give me a number from 1 to 3, but between 1 and 4?
2.
2. 1, 2. I'm going to push that pile forward with only my fingertip, the pile you chose. Watch the other aces. And we did this as slowly as we could. Watch. Oi! Whoa! I'm going to go right into the next trick, which is based basically on biddle moves. It's a really neat variation on the McDonald's aces, done in a very slow manner, and it looks like you see each and every ace. It's almost as good as having gimmick cards, but without the gimmick cards. Let's go down here and check it out. You're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards in addition to the aces. You spread them out, showing the aces and the 12 cards. You get a break. 3 cards just happen to be the 3 twos, which is a fluke. I swear I didn't plan this. Really? You get a break above those 3 cards. That's there. You're now going to do basically a biddle steal move here. You're going to count the cards. Can we see this on camera? Mm-hmm. We can. I'm going to count the cards into the aces into my left hand. My hand will come over to pull the ace into my left hand. As it does, it's going to grab the cards above the break and pull them into my left hand as I pull the first ace off. So it looks like this. Okay? Those cards are hidden underneath the first ace. And as I pull it out, you'll notice my pinky right over here. My pinky establishes a break right here above that ace. So that's all done in one action. As you come over, grab, break. 1, count another 1, still maintaining that original break, another 1, and on taking the 4th one, you're going to steal all these cards back to the bottom of the pack, while stealing this ace and putting it on top of the other packet, like that. You don't have to hold a break here. So you've switched out. You have now the 3 indifferent cards and the ace. So I'm going to do that again in a little more of an actual speed from behind. So you're going 1, 2, 3, every card stolen, 4. Okay, so all the aces are now here. The ace and the indifferent cards are here. So if essentially you've just switched out these cards, that's your situation. You turn them over, you count 1, 2, you then throw both of them down and slide the 3rd one to your left. On camera it would be your right, to me it's my left. What that does is it leaves the 1 ace in third position, which is where you want it. You now say, look, what I'm going to do is place a couple of cards onto each ace. As you fan the cards out, I'm just actually looking at them, spotting my aces, and reestablishing a break above them. Okay? That's what I do as I do this. Okay? I now say, look, very slowly I'm going to place 1, 2, 3 cards onto each ace. At that point, I just use a regular biddle count, counting 1, 2, 3, turn them face down, put it there. Now, the second count, you're going to do another variation of the switch you did for the aces. You're going to come over to count 3 cards. When you do, your left pinky is going to hit this packet, pulling it to the side, under cover of counting that first card on top, 1, just as you did to switch the aces. You count the second card, 2, and instead of switching at this point, you actually count the 3rd card, 3. So you now have 3 cards above the break, 3 aces below the break. The switch happens in the action of turning the cards over and placing them onto the ace. In doing so, what's going to happen is it's momentarily going to go underneath this packet in your right hand. As it goes underneath, you're going to grab all the cards above the aces with this packet and then turn the hand over with this with the left hand, placing these cards down, which will be all 4 aces. So once again, 1, 2, 3. Steal, turn. In actual speed, it's a really casual maneuver where you're going, look, 1, 2, the aces are on the bottom. So you go 1, 2, 3 cards here on this ace, and that's done. You then just continue counting. There's no more moves left. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Turn them over. These are actually the same 3 cards that were counted here, but no one ever notices because no one remembers. You're now home free. To all intents and purposes, they've just seen you count 3 indifferent cards on every ace. You ask for a number between 1 and 4. You stress between. If they name 2, you count 1, 2. If they name 3, you count 1, 2, 3. If they name 1 or 4, with 1 you can actually spell O-N-E. But if they name 1 or 4, you just tell them between 1 and 4. I don't want to choose the end, whatever. Between 1 and 4, you get them to choose this one, typical magician's force. And you're now in a position to do the McDonald's. You can do any variation you want. You could say, look, we got the 3 cards and the ace, and you just miscall it ace of hearts. Flick it over, it disappears. You can take the second one, look, 1, 2, 3 cards and the ace, ace of clubs, miscall, flick it through your hand. Third one, you can do a fancy variation where you say, look, I'm going to place that third one face down in between the other 2. Just snap and look, they're all face up and it's gone completely. All 4 aces. What I did there is just place the indifferent card in between, third from the top. Do an Elmsley, 1, 2, 3, 4. They just saw 4 faces. That's all they care about. They didn't see an ace. As I turn them over, I buckle the bottom card and just transfer it on top like that as I throw them down. You then have them turn over their hand, and there's all 4 aces. A really strong effect with no gimmick cards. It's fun for the whole family, especially the dog. This is a trick I'm not going to touch anything. My cameraman is going to do the trick for me. You notice there's a pack of cards on the table. My cameraman is going to reach over there and cut the pack without touching it, and I don't want to get a peek. I want you to take a peek at that top card like a poker hand. Just kind of take a peek at it. Let the camera see it. Okay? Then take the other cards in this pile, put them on top of that one. Again, I don't want to touch anything. I want you to hold your hand there. Keep the camera on it. Do not take your hand off it. On the count of 3, I'm going to touch your hand. Your card's going to vanish. 1, 2, 3. What was the name of your card? I think it was 3 of diamonds.
That was 3 of diamonds.
Can you turn the pack over face up? And spread through the cards. Keep the camera on it. You'll see that the 3 of diamonds is actually gone from the pack. Even though I didn't come near you, you handled the cards yourself. I didn't touch a thing. And in fact, if you look right here in my pocket, there's your card. Okay, here's the gimmick right here. This is a self-working trick that is a lot of fun to perform. You're using the old gimmick that came with the lock deck trick. It's basically a card that's glued on the bottom right here. It is glued right there. There's a strip of glue on the back of this card, the 10. And then you place your other card on top and glue them together. So you actually have a 3 of diamonds glued to the back of the 10 of spades. It's glued on this end, but if you pull up on this end, you can still see the 3. That is essentially your gimmick. In a lock deck, there was a little half moon cut out here, so it would act as a short card. This has no short card. This is the way the trick works. The only additional thing is there's a little pin dot on the, you'll see it right there on the queen, on the whatever that is, the angel cherub riding a bike. It's on the side closest to the place where you can lift the pack. So that's just for me to know which direction to hold the cards. Okay? Here's how the trick works. What you're going to do is this, the foolproof method. And this is the method that you will be using most of the time. This is the method I use. I have this card on the bottom of the deck. You fall shuffle, do whatever you want, keeping the card on the bottom. When you're ready to do the trick, you are going to tell the spectator that you want him to cut the deck anywhere he wants. So, I'll be the spectator this time. They cut the pack, and I say cut a really big chunk of cards. So let's say they cut that many. I say, great. You cut that many cards up. You have no idea how many cards are there, do you? They say no. I say, I want you to pick the cards up in their hand. They do this. I say, I want you to count the cards onto the table one at a time. Remember the amount of cards that you have. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You reiterate. There is no way I could have known that you would cut exactly how many cards you did cut. In fact, I don't even know at this point because they count them silently and I'm turned away. I haven't touched the deck at all at this point. Back to the cards. I then say, in fact, what I'd like you to do is take a peek at whatever card, whatever that card is, and don't let me see it. In fact, like a poker hand, just kind of reach it, grab the corner, and take a peek at the card. So what they end up doing is looking at the card like this. In fact, what they're doing, which is really neat, is activating the gimmick themselves. This is actually your forced double card. And because what you did is you had them cut the card, it was on the bottom. You had them cut a large chunk off the pack. Now the card's on the bottom, you say, there's no way I could have known how many cards you would cut here. There's no way I can know how many cards are left here, is there? They say no. I say take them and count them. What you're doing is a variation of the old count force, because now when they count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they're doing this in their head, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They end up putting the force card now on the top of the pack. But with all the misdirection of saying, and you cut the cards, I had no idea how many cards are there, you count them yourself, there's no way I could have known you would cut to that spot. They say no. At that point, they've forgotten that they've reversed the order of the cards. They don't care. They just know they're 14 and they cut 14. I say, look at the card. So now, to all intents and purposes, they believe they're looking at the card they cut to. With the operation, you make sure the little spot card is towards them, so that the opening is towards them. You tell them to look at it like a poker hand. They'll grab that top card, pull it open, and they're actually operating the gimmick, because that is your gimmick. So they see the card, they let it fall. You say, now, take the rest of the cards, cut them on top. They take these cards, cut them on top. You haven't touched the cards at all at this point. You then tell them, hold the cards in your hand. They hold the cards in their hand. You tap, snap your fingers, tap their hand, say, look, your card is gone. Ask them what the name of it is. They say whatever. And then you have them run through and find their card and it's not there. The reason it's not there, of course, is because when they run through the special double card, the card will adhere to the back and they will not be able to see it. And it is lost in the pack. That 3 of diamonds is completely gone. They, in their own hands, they have, think about this, in their own hands, you haven't touched the pack. They've cut to a card, they've looked at the card, they've held their cards in their hand the whole time. You haven't touched anything. They now look through the deck. Their card is gone. It's weird. It's freaky. This really freaks people out. You then reach into your pocket, or you can have it anywhere. You could have it in a plant, somewhere across a room, in an ice cube, in their freezer, wherever you want. But in this case, very conveniently, in your pocket. You haven't touched the deck at all. And somehow, you've made the card leave the deck and travel to the place you wanted. An additional note about this trick. One of the ways I present it, and it's kind of a strange presentation, but again, it gets a really cool effect. You do the whole presentation right up to the point where the spectator has their hand on the pack. So you say, I haven't touched the cards. You have your hand on the pack. There's no way I can get at your card. I don't even know what it is at this point. Watch my hand. At this point, I say, watch this. Usually magicians do something so quickly you can't see it. I'm going to do something so slowly you won't be able to see it. Now remember, their hand is over the deck at this point. I take my hand, my empty hand, I show it, I hold it over their hand about a couple of inches and I go, watch. And I move my hand very, very slowly. And I'm talking slowly. I milk this for all it's worth. They're all burning. What's happening with his hand? What's going on? I'll open my fingers a little bit here just so they can see there's nothing there, and I'll slowly move it towards my pocket. Now remember, they held the deck themselves. I haven't come near the deck. I just held my hand over it. I reach in my pocket. At this point, the audience is going, no way. No way, because they're anticipating what's about to happen. No way. And I pull the card out. They're going, no way. I say, for the first time, what's the card? They say 3 of diamonds. I go, boom. At that point, they start freaking. They grab for the deck. They run through it, looking for their card. They know it's in here because they had the pack the whole time. Unfortunately, it's not there. And they're left quite, how shall we say, befuddled.